is Graeme, and I am 9 years old, and I'm a boy who stutters. What I wish people knew about stuttering is that it's okay to stutter. Because some of the most famous people around the world stutter. Here are some examples, like Shaq, Joe Biden, and Christian Zayden do it. If you stutter, you should not be scared to show it. When I grow up, I want to build houses and construct buildings like my dad. Stuttering is not going to stop me from anything. Thank you for listening.
I'm Audrey, and I'm a person who stutters. And what feels significant about that statement is I actually was a covert stutterer up until this past fall when I realized I wanted to be free from this unnamed thing that I struggled with. I let this stutter boss me around for way too long. And avoidance was a go-to strategy for me. And there was a lot of safety in that way of coping. But what I continue to come to terms with is that coping is surviving, not living. And the choice to face my fears has led me to really be able to be present to my emotions and to really choose to live. Instead of knuckling my way through life and ignoring that my stutter affected me. For example, I was feeling called to be a server in this season of life, which I would never have chosen to do on my own, just because of how social the job was. And my avoidance techniques would never have let me subject myself to that amount of stuttering per day. But it's been a great place to chip away at some big feelings that come with stuttering. And also participating in this program was another huge deal for me as I've been making new friends. And like Emmanuel, Mayok, Caleb, and Stephen, they've been a huge comfort and encouragement to me as I've been chipping away at my stutter. And although I know progress isn't a linear thing, I've come to replace fear and shame with hope and life, and to swap avoidance with connection. And this great exchange has been reshaping my life. Thank you.
My name is Paul Hill, and I'm someone who stutters, often by blocking on sounds or repeating words. I'm also chronically long-winded, so I apologize in advance for that. I just want to share a little bit with you guys about my story. So as a little kid, I loved to speak, and I would do it on any topic and to anyone that would listen. And my favorite part was speaking to strangers, speaking in public, speaking in front of a class on just whatever it had to be. And I think I knew that I stuttered, but I didn't really know how much or how often. But I just loved to speak. And I first realized how often I stuttered when educators put me into speech therapy. And through that process, I bit by bit and slowly by slowly got into this mindset of, well, when I stutter, when I have stuttering speech, that's bad, and that needs to be corrected, and that needs to be improved. But when I didn't stutter, that was good, and that was praiseworthy. And so I wanted to have that fluent speech and that not stuttering speech. And it worked a little bit, and I would stutter less in some scenarios, but not all. And the one place that was always very difficult to not stutter was speaking in public, speaking in front of a class, doing a presentation, speaking to strangers. And I would get so wrapped up into trying to not stutter that when it would happen, as it always would, I'd be frustrated and defeated and derail pretty much everything that I was trying to say. And it reflected in the marks that I got back from teachers and educators. Well, you have good things to say, but you're not very good at saying it. So towards the end of high school, I thought, I kind of decided that I thought I wanted to be a lawyer when I grew up. But the big fear was, well, what about the speaking? Would I be able to do it? And if I can't, would that hold me back? What would that do? And I sort of lived the next decade really just waiting for that buck to come due. And in a lot of ways, it did. That fear and that frustration and that self-defeating affected my ability to do those speaking parts. And I thought if I just tried harder, then I could get used to it, I could get through it, and it didn't work. And that's really why I came to Blank Center, thinking that, well, what I really needed was more therapy, was more practice, was more effort. But what I learned was that the problem wasn't the stuttering speech at all. It wasn't that stuttering speech was bad. Stuttering speech is fine. It's not ineffective. What was getting in my way, what was causing my speech and my communication to not be effective was just the intense amount of energy and focus that I was trying to put on just avoiding stuttering, as if that was the worst thing that could happen, instead of focusing on how I was communicating with people, how I was gesturing, how I was using eye contact, the content of what I was going to say. All of that effort put into stuttering was taking away from everything that actually mattered. So from that, now I've learned that I'm in control of what my speech is and how people can perceive that. I didn't have to be so worried and afraid of what people would think about my stuttering, because I can tell them. I can tell them up front, hey, I'm someone who stutters. This is what it sounds like, and this is what you should think of it. And I can be mindful to not talk myself down, defeat myself, derail myself when I stutter, because it's okay. And I can focus on what I need to say and what I need to do. And so now slowly, little by little, speaking situations are a little less scary. They're a little bit more fun. And I think I'm getting to there, but one day I'll be back, hopefully in the same place that I was when I was 5 or 6 or 7, just being willing to talk the ear off of anyone that can listen. So thank you for your time. And that's my story.